Imagine waking up tomorrow and the crushing weight in your chest is gone. Not the baby weight or the stacks of laundry or the endless to do list, but that heavy mental load that wants to tell you you're not cut out for this. And you're really bad at being a mom. And you should probably just give up. Imagine realizing that even though things feel like they're falling apart around you, it's not a sign of your weakness, but proof of your transformation. And maybe you're not there yet. Maybe this feels impossible right now, but you know deep down there's a way through this. Pivots aren't always momentous occasions like New Year's or birthdays, but regular days when the going all of a sudden gets really tough. Despite what happens, pivoting is not just when you throw in the towel, it's where you actually find what you're made of. And if you're watching this from a raw, vulnerable, I don't know how much more of this I can take place, then you're exactly where you need to be to hear what I'm about to tell you. Hi, I'm Yvette the Declutters, your Less is More coach and business mentor. And stay with me because in this video, we're going to talk about the best way to pivot as a mom and the rules behind making the right pivot at the right time. We're about to transform our relationship with change itself so we can pivot from a place of power and not panic. First things first, pivoting as a mom is a lot different than pivoting before kids. And until we acknowledge that, we're going to always feel like failures when in reality, we're just playing a game with a different set of rules. So, what makes up a typical pivot? We pivot after burnout or breakdown. The current way we're living is no longer sustainable. Major life change, new baby, starting school, marriage, divorce, death, relocation, health scare, hitting a ceiling, either an income, career, visibility, or opportunity, and realizing this won't take you to the next level. Craving bigger and better. That persistent pull toward a purpose or a lifestyle that calls you to take the leap. For mom, these pivots happen often. Newborn years, toddler years, school years, with each one reshaping your vision, your energy, your capacity, what you thought was possible. And as a mompreneur, you might be pivoting because you want to spend more time with your kids and build a more flexible schedule to be available to enjoy more core memory making moments. You want to work on something more aligned with who you are now and what you want. You want something different because you are different. And you want to make more money faster, easier, and begin to build generational wealth. And the challenges we face when deciding to pivot as a mom or a mompreneur are exhaustion, because the pivot takes energy we probably don't have, doubt, because shifting into someone new feels like the unknown, and we wonder if we can rise to the challenge, and fear, because it's terrifying to step into something more or different than what we're used to, because what more will that demand of us? And what will it take away? Just as I was getting my footing back in my business with two toddlers, my firstborn enters kindergarten. And if I could just tell you what an emotional roller coaster that has become, whew, enough to say that a wrench has been thrown. Nothing is going as planned. In fact, he's homesick right now. That's him coughing. And I don't know about you, but during a pivot or times of transition, as I like to call them, which is happening right now, I'm learning patience with myself because that's what I can give as a mom who doesn't know what's coming next. There's a lot of pent up energy during times of transition. Like there's so much energy ready to move with nowhere to go. Your body's saying, do something. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, consider the definition of pivotal, this being of crucial importance in relation to the development or success of something else. Everything from here on out hinges on the move you make right now. So, what now? Well, let's talk about what not to do. In times of transition for you, your kids, your partner, we tend to look outward for answers because we don't know what to do anymore. We feel lost. It's like our internal compass isn't giving us clear signals forward. And you're sitting at this fork in the road with two choices: stay the same or grow. And without our compass, we freeze. We feel stuck, alone, because at least before you had you. And now these two versions of you want to go their separate ways. The new you wants to break up with the old you. It's both dismal and enlightening. The selfless courage to let the old you go so that you can continue to become the best version of yourself, to not hold yourself back anymore with limiting beliefs. That takes some serious ego death. So, yeah, pivots come with their share of pending doom. For me, it meant accepting that the girl who used to be able to leisurely read or journal with her hot tea on the back patio was gone. Now I'm taking my boys to the park or to art camp or teaching them yoga in the living room. Time alone to do whatever I feel like is scarce. Acknowledging that was the first most pivotal step. What do they say? Acceptance is the first step to recovery. Accepting that you have a problem is the first step to recovery. And then things get tricky. And this is what I was talking about. When your internal compass feels broken, we don't know what to do anymore, we start to look everywhere else for direction. You start looking at other people's lives. For me, it's glossy fashion magazines. For others, it's science fiction, true crime, or romance novels. For everyone else, it's social media. If you're looking outward, it's okay because it's a natural response to forging a new path, considering all your options. What's everyone else doing and how are they liking it? What does this signal to me about my next step forward? It's intel for the change to come. You might need this information for the new world you're creating for yourself. But a word of caution: when you fixate on other people's lives, comparing theirs to yours, instead of using their story as a launch pad for your own rocket of desire, then your pivot takes longer, it gets stickier, and it feels harder. Instead of feeling inspired to make a change, you feel inferior, disenchanted instead of encouraged. Which brings me to the new rules of pivoting. The new rules of pivoting. Pivoting rule number one: focus on what you can control. There's always life to deal with: bills, dishes, homework, my dad's cancer diagnosis, and his passing a couple months later. Devastating stuff that continues to ripple through everything, all while you still have to show up for your kids, your clients, and your content. Life doesn't pause while you figure yourself out. When I was younger, pivots were exciting. Like I could quit my stuffy corporate job, travel the world, work from a laptop, all because I had an itch. I could take risks because I was only risking myself. Pivoting as a mom isn't just about me anymore. Every decision I make now impacts the people I live for. That's not an excuse, but it is a daily struggle. A pivot today has to factor in my bandwidth, my mental load, since I'm consumed with the needs of my kids and more strategic with my time than ever before. I find that looking at other people's journeys on social media right now isn't fuel for the fire anymore. It's a distraction, and it's how I start to hold myself back. So, what can I control? I can stop scrolling. Control what you can control, starting with the information you take in. The more sad stories and doom scrolling you do, the more sad and doomed you'll feel. Silence the noise, or choose to listen to information that brings about a higher vibration. If you don't want to wallow in lack and limitation, during times of pivot, choose stories and movies and media that remind you to tap back into abundance. Can you take a few moments to cry, feel sad, and maybe fantasize about giving up the pivot? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I recommend it. And then I recommend moving on. Pivoting rule number two: remember where you want to go and also where you've been. Don't only make a vision board for your future. Make a collage of your past. Pictures of you having fun traveling, seeing sights, eating that first bite of delicious food. Mix in pics of you in school, getting that award you worked so hard for, graduating college, candids from your wedding day, the day your child was born. Showcase a life well lived. Maybe that's why people are so depressed. They forget the beautiful life they already have if only they looked at it from that perspective. Trust me, I know it's not always an easy thing to do. The old way of pivoting, taking time to research, having the luxury of trial and error, being able to focus solely on your own growth, that's gone. You're pivoting while managing a household, grieving losses, navigating your kids' moods, all while your own identity hangs in the balance. But that doesn't mean in all these years of living that you haven't acquired a few tools to keep you steady and calm. I bet you've already survived massive transitions. You've already figured out impossible things. You've already proven you can adapt and expand. If it wasn't for me remembering where I've been and that I'm not just a mom, but an entrepreneur pursuing passion and purpose and living life to the fullest, I wouldn't be filming this video right now. Pivoting rule number three: find a partner who gets it and gets you. I don't necessarily mean your spouse, though hopefully they're supportive, and it could be them. But I use the word partner because you want to partner with someone who is just as committed to becoming the next version of themselves as you are, just as committed to being held accountable and responsible to their dreams while doing the same for you. Someone who's also learning to trust themselves as they pioneer a new path. Someone who understands this isn't just a career change, But this pivot is an identity reconstruction. This person is a trustworthy confidant, someone you can be yourself with. Share your good days and your bad days without feeling judged. And this partnership will give you courage and make the journey feel so much more rewarding when you come through the other side. I can attest to the isolation and the shame moms feel when things aren't going so well. Problem after problem, pain after pain, from kids who don't sleep through the night to potty training that lasts years. We don't always know how to move ahead past the obstacles, but having somebody to talk through it with makes all the difference. I have been blessed with the advice other moms have given me along the way, enough to make me feel less tragic. My friends and family are who continue to keep me on the up and up. But I do have one partner who shall remain nameless that I continue to go to for this reason right here, pivoting. And sometimes I feel flaky with my friends. Like my schedule is just too chaotic, too busy to add yet another thing like go see them. But this partner that you choose, and you both want to choose each other, you let them in on how it's going. So consistently, week after week, on the same day of the week, for 10, 20 minutes, you guys each get an equal share of time to let each other in. What are your wins? What's keeping you stuck? What's draining your energy and eating you alive? They are there for this reason. You'll find these few minutes with your partner will recharge you because you'll know you're not alone. Now that we've got our rules down, let's use our quitter's compass from last week and apply it to this pivot as our own internal compass is recalibrating. And I want to use an example of a mom who doesn't yet realize she needs to pivot. So Jane worked in corporate finance. After her second baby, the hours and the pressure became impossible for her to keep up with and still have confidence in her output and the time for her family. So let's see how she used the compass. Adjust, align, anchor, and advance. How did she adjust? She recognized the difficult spot she was in, and she approached her boss after maternity leave to consider more flexible arrangements. She offered to work on different projects while she got her bearings, or different hours, and even work after the kids were asleep. When the boss didn't approve sufficient enough change, she knew she had to pivot. Align. Jane had to get brutally honest about what was working against her and begin to align with her new normal, which exposed the fact that her heart wasn't in this work anymore. At this time, she found an accountability partner, another new mom in the corporate world, to talk through her ideas with. Anchor. She took inventory of her situation, the help she had available, the hours that were most conducive to work, and those that she needed to keep sacred so that she could be available for her kids the way she wanted to be. She anchored in on this picture right here, and she started to feel less ashamed about it. And from there, she could come up with a solution. Advance. Her solution turned out to be stepping into bookkeeping for small businesses. Less prestige, less pay at first, but less corporate ladder climbing. Starting her own business worked out better with her new life plan. She didn't quit her job immediately. It took a few months of reduced hours at work before she started to take clients on the side. Within 3 years, she built a six-figure practice that let her clock off in time for homework, dinner, and bedtime. Jane's story shows us that we're not going to know the full pivot at the start. It takes us evolving within the transition. Even when it's messy, even when it's slow, even when it doesn't look like the pages of a glossy magazine, we keep going. We keep discovering. You're proving to yourself that you can do this by simply focusing on what you can control, remembering what you've come through before, and confiding in someone along the way. And you're modeling for your kids how to move through uncertainty with a lot less fear. That's the most pivotal move of all. So if you're in a season of pivot, somewhere between who you are now and who you're becoming, let me know in the comments which rule will you incorporate first. And please take a second to hit the subscribe button. Let's transition fully into Mompreneur together. And I'm partnering with a few pivoting mompreneurs inside my Leap to Launch Accelerator as they take the leap over fear. If you're interested, click the link below to join us. And until the next one.